Welcome back. This is the best beverage. I'm James Wolverton. It's short delay, vacation, scheduling problems, but we're back and I missed you. And I've missed talking about alcohol and rock and roll and all sorts of fun styles of music. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue on this series for a while. Still have those requests coming in. If you do like this kind of content, hit that like, hit that subscribe. This week's episode is for Jared Sloan. Thank you very much for your suggestion. His suggestion was Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Stranger in Town. That's a classic. It was released in 1978. His reasoning behind this is it was what his mother listened to all the time when he was growing up. In that time period, I get it, and it had the classics and it had the hits. So in 1978, that meant late 70s, early 80s, it would have been on radio. And if I was going to pair it with any alcohol pairing, I'm not doing any cocktail for this classic classic rock album. If you were going to listen to this album somewhere, you were going to listen with alcohol, you were going to listen to it at a bar or at a party or something along those lines. Cocktails weren't huge then at all. And unfortunately, craft beer movement and certainly craft cocktails weren't around. So if you were going to go to a bar and listen to this on the jukebox, and I guarantee you the music would have been on a jukebox, you would have been drinking a Budweiser or a Bud Light by that point, because they began to get into the Bud Lights and the Miller Lights were gaining popularity. I'm thinking for this classic Midwestern band style, just great rock, we're gonna go with the King of Beers. Do I think it is I don't know, it's a title. Do I think it's the best beer I've ever had? No. Do I think I would have had it in this style of glass in 1978, 1979, 1980 listening to this album? Absolutely. Sam, you agree? Sam agrees. Hold on one second, we'll get him. You went up? Yeah. The mascot right behind me. So yeah, you would have been drinking a Budweiser and you would have been chasing it with a shot. And it would have been a Heaven Hill. Okay, side note. I wanted to do Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. I do have a couple bottles of it. Doing research, I found out I bought them and they were $20 bottle. Maybe 25 because it was beginning to get close to being discontinued. And by the by, this is its sister product, the Heaven Hill Green. It's 90. It's also a 6-year. The main difference is 90 proof versus 100, which is a bonded product. This has also been discontinued. And to a point, I almost prefer this product to the bottled and bond. But anyway, the bottled and bond selling for $150, $100. I saw up to $300 for a $20 bottle of bourbon. Ugh, it just breaks my heart that got discontinued. Getting discontinued by a product that is good, but it's not twice as good. It's one more year and it's $40. And it took them forever to even reintroduce it in Kentucky. Ugh, heartbreaking. It makes you want to drink. So we're drinking products that you would have found in a bar in late 70s, early 80s, which would have been a Budweiser, which would have been a Heaven Hill product. Probably bottled and bond because it still had a great reputation among my parents and certainly my grandparents' age of the quality product because it's what it was supposed to represent. So let's chase it with a Bud. And it would have been in a Pilsner glass, and I'm not gonna really nose this. This is consumable American lager beer. You drank it so you pay attention to music, not to the beer. Now the Heaven Hill, you notice I'm not also drinking it out of Glencairn because they didn't drink it out of Glencairns back then. They did shot glasses. And they shot it like that. Oh gosh. Side note, it takes me a moment, inspiration, just to enjoy how much I enjoy that green. It's so good. And unfortunately, that's also discontinued. This one was cracked. I usually crack one on St. Patrick's Day because of the green, and it's always a crowd pleaser. Can't get any more, it's tasty. But we would have been listening to those while we were listening to Bob C. drinking these. See, that's why I drink some more. We would have been drinking these while listening to Bob Seger on the jukebox. Yeah, jukeboxes with records back then, or singles. And the album released once again 1978. Huge. It just put him into the next stratosphere, really made Bob Seger, he was a star. It made here's the hits. Started right off with Hollywood Nights, an amazing hard rock, great storytelling, great music behind it, just hard hitting. Feel Like a Number. I mean, the themes behind that still resonate. That's why it's such a great song, because we all do just feel like sometimes cogs in the machine, and we just, stand out in the sea and just yell, damn it, I'm not a number. I'm a man, I'm a person, I'm a human. It just so resonates. We've got Tonight, and not the Kenny Chesney, Sheena Easton version, which, don't get me wrong, love me some Kenny, love me some Sheena, but Bob did it first and did it first. I think better, but he did it first. No shade to Kenny or Sheena. I love them both, but they're not Bob. And it was originally his song. And then the original, oh gosh, okay. I grew up during this time period. 69, so definitely, the missus says she's a child of the 90s only. We're kind of funny, we're just a couple years removed from each other, but I certainly remember album-oriented, hey buddy, and he does too. I don't know how he remembers the album-oriented rock radio stations in the 80s when I was growing up, but yeah, all of these were on heavy rotation, including other Bob Seger songs. And unfortunately, there was a movie came out, a little-known actor, Tom Cruise, Risky Business. And did you know he danced around in his underwear to this, and everyone went nuts over him dancing around in his underwear to Old Time Rock and Roll. I guess it is a good tune, but it just hit a chord with the public, and there was not a rock and roll club, radio station that it's my first recollection of a song that was played too often, kind of like Journey's Don't Stop Believing is now. You heard it too much, which was a shame, because it's a good song, and people get it, and it still kind of resonates, because it's still, we miss our kind of old time rock and roll. Even now, it's funny, I hear generations who are younger than us still fussing about the same thing. I think that's the eternal, how dare you not compare, although I won't compare the Budweiser, I will say old time whiskey/bourbon with this. Do miss this. As you can tell, I've gone back that several times instead of this Budweiser, but it's a pretty glass. But Jared Sloan, I totally agree with this. This album is a banger. Being that in between age, but I remember hearing this in my teens on radio all the time. I remember when Bob Seger was a big star, selling out arenas, doing huge tours, and he played all of these. These are the hits. These are classic Midwest rock and roll, good stuff. And if you were at a bar, that's where you went to drink beer. And that means Budweiser. It's a lager. I prefer to Bud Light and Miller Lite. I will hard press if you say, hey, you have to drink an American lager. I would pick a Bud or a Coors. Nothing wrong. I kind of like the stubby for the Coors, but I mean, it's a pretty glass. It's what I would be drinking during this time period. It's a classic rock. This is a classic pairing that you would do that kind of that era. You probably modern day. If I had to update and modernize it, I would do probably a Founders or a Bell's Amber Ale would be very nice with this. And it's once again a Michigan beer, really nice. Amber is a more modern style, but still kind of classic. So I would do that as a pairing. Maybe do the 7 year. I don't hate the 7 year Heaven Hill product at all. I'm not throwing shade and saying I hate it. You know, it sounds like me fussing about old time rock and roll. I miss the original $20-$25 product. But as Bernie Lovers, their rep for their Heaven Hill bonded person likes to say, it's the whiskey business, it's not whiskey charity. They have to make money, and it's too popular. You can't continue to sell a 6-year product at $20 and really stay in business that well for that long. So I'll give you a pass. Great choice, Jared. I remember growing up, I remember these, seeing my uncle drink these. I remember drinking a little of these, but that was later in the 80s. But that's what would be my pairing. That is a great album. I appreciate you, Jared. If you guys like this, hit the like and subscribe. If you got any other suggestions for album content, I'm looking at you. Pablo, I have not heard from you yet. Couple other suggestions I would love to have. See what all I can do to, either era pairings or modern pairings. And we will see you guys in a couple weeks. It's good to be back. Look forward to getting more in a normal rotation. And we'll see you in a few weeks. Take care. Oh, by the way, Spencer Daniel, you're on the clock. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be really diggable. Be careful out there. Enjoy in moderation and smartly. Take care.